Each of us must needs concern ourselves with our own spirit, mind, and soul. Indeed, the contentment each of us seeks is not to be found in the material things of this world. If in our essence we humans have first and foremost a spiritual reality, then it behooves us to investigate the nature of our own spirituality and to discover the truths about the history, nature, and reality of man. In this video, I will expound proofs from the school of divine philosophy that show clearly the reality of the human spirit, mind, and soul. Welcome to another video on spiritual reality from the Baha'i perspective. It was already explained that in general, spirit is divided into 5 categories: the vegetable spirit, the animal spirit, the human spirit, the spirit of faith, and the Holy Spirit. The vegetable spirit is that power of growth which is brought about in the seed through the influence of other created things. The animal spirit is that all-embracing sensory power which is realized through the composition and combination of the elements. When this composition disintegrates, that spirit likewise perishes and becomes non-existent. It may be likened to this lamp. When oil, wick, and flame are brought together and combined, it is lit. And when this combination disintegrates, that is, when the constituent parts are separated from one another, the lamp is also extinguished. The human spirit, which distinguishes man from the animal, is the rational soul, and these two terms, the human spirit and the rational soul, designate one and the same thing. This spirit, which in the terminology of the philosophers is called the rational soul, encompasses all things and, as far as human capacity permits, discovers their realities and becomes aware of the properties and effects, the characteristics and conditions of earthly things. But the human spirit, unless it be assisted by the spirit of faith, cannot become acquainted with the divine mysteries and the heavenly realities. It is like a mirror, which, although clear, bright, and polished, is still in need of light. Not until a sunbeam falls upon it can it discover the divine mysteries. As for the mind, it is the power of the human spirit. The spirit is as the lamp, and the mind as the light that shines from it. The spirit is as the tree, and the mind as the fruit. The mind is the perfection of the spirit, and a necessary attribute thereof, even as the rays of the sun are an essential requirement of the sun itself. This explanation, however brief, is complete. Reflect upon it, and God willing, you will grasp the details. There are 5 outward material powers in man, which are the means of perception. That is, 5 powers whereby man perceives material things. They are sight, which perceives sensible forms; hearing, which perceives audible sounds; smell, which perceives odors; taste, which perceives edible things; and touch, which is distributed throughout the body and which perceives tactile realities. These 5 powers perceive external objects. Man has likewise a number of spiritual powers: the power of imagination, which forms a mental image of things; thought, which reflects upon the realities of things; comprehension, which understands these realities; and memory, which retains whatever man has imagined, thought, and understood. The intermediary between these 5 outward powers and the inward powers is a common faculty, a sense which mediates between them, and which conveys to the inward powers whatever the outward powers have perceived. It is termed the common faculty, as it is shared in common between the outward and inward powers. For instance, sight, which is one of the outward powers, sees and perceives this flower, and conveys this perception to the inward power of the common faculty. The common faculty transmits it to the power of imagination, which in turn conceives and forms this image and transmits it to the power of thought. The power of thought reflects upon it and, having apprehended its reality, conveys it to the power of comprehension. The comprehension, once it has understood it, delivers the image of the sensible object to the memory, and the memory preserves it in its repository. The outward powers are 5: the power of sight, of hearing, of taste, of smell, and of touch. The inward powers are also 5: the common faculty and the powers of imagination, thought, comprehension, and memory.